You're spending $1,500 a month for a one bedroom with no parking, noisy neighbors, and a sink that never stops dripping. Meanwhile, in Senegal, that same money can get you your first plot of land. Not in 10 years, not with millions, right now. And no, you don't need to be rich. You just need to rethink what wealth actually means. Because while you're budgeting for rent increases, others are quietly building futures back home. The only difference, they stopped waiting for the quote unquote perfect time and started with what they had. This episode breaks it all down, why Senegal makes sense, and how you can start investing without having it all figured out. This is They Lied About Africa. I'm your host, Numba, and if nobody told you the real story, I will. This episode is a part of the Before You Invest in So and So Country series, where we stop romanticizing the motherland and start strategizing. We'll break down what's really going on in Senegal, the policies, the economy, the mindset shift, not just the surface level stuff, but the details you actually need before putting your money in. Because investing isn't just for the wealthy anymore. It's for the informed. And by the end of this episode, that's exactly what you'll be. Let's get into it. So let's talk Senegal, not just how they basically invented jollof rice, produced philosophers and the most photogenic people you've ever seen, or host Eid like it's Met Gala. But let's talk about why Senegal makes sense. So Senegal has been one of the most politically stable countries in West Africa. No military coups since 1960. That's unheard of in the region. But let's keep it real. In the past few years, things got shaky. The youth hit the streets and there were major protests, arrests, internet blackouts. Why? Because the people were tired of being ignored, tired of being used, tired of surviving instead of living, tired of corruption, tired of leaders overstaying their welcome, tired of being unemployed in a country full of gold, gas, fish, and promise. And that's what makes Senegal so different right now. Because in the middle of all of that chaos, the people flipped the script and elected someone completely unexpected, Bassirou Diomaye Faye. So he's a former tax inspector, a quiet, humble guy, not flashy, not famous, and get this, he was actually in prison when the election started. Let that sink in. That man was behind bars and still got elected. This wasn't just a win. That was a message from the people saying, we're done being polite. We want change and we'll vote from the ground up if we have to. Diomaye's win was historic. His whole platform, sovereignty, anti-corruption, economic justice, youth empowerment, and he's not just throwing around Pan-Africanism to sound deep. His team is already making moves, renegotiating unfair mining contracts, boosting local agriculture, rethinking foreign dependency. This isn't just political theater, it's a power shift. Now, zoom out. Senegal is the westernmost tip of mainland Africa. If West Africa had a front door, Senegal is it. Its ports connect directly to Europe, US, Latin America, and it's not just about where it sits on the map. It's about what that means. So you want to invest in manufacturing, export, trade, you want to move products across borders, Senegal is your launch pad. The location isn't just symbolic, by the way, it's strategic, a physical gateway to global markets, and it's been underused until now. But here's the catch. Economic independence is still a fight. Let's talk about the CFA franc, the currency used in Senegal and 13 other former French colonies. On paper, it sounds solid. It's pegged to the euro, it keeps inflation low, but behind the scenes, it's colonial baggage. The system was created in 1945, right after World War II, when France needed to keep its African colonies economically locked in, even after giving them political independence. And to this day, Senegal doesn't print its own money. It can't set its own monetary policy. It has to keep reserves in France. And France, they get full visibility into Senegal's financial system. Let me put it like this. It's like being grown, but your bank account is still controlled by your ex who robbed you. That's why you're hearing calls for monetary sovereignty, because how do you build a nation? How do you create real wealth when you can't even control your currency? But here's the plot twist. That system is cracking. Pan-African movements are gaining steam. ECOWAS has been floating the idea of a new regional currency, the ECO. More and more leaders are publicly criticizing the CFA franc. Economists are exposing it. Youth are learning about it in school. And in Senegal, those protests weren't just about jobs. They were about dignity, about control, about not settling for the leftovers while other people feast. And that's where you come in. Because while the old system breaks, new roads open up. Literally, infrastructure is expanding. Figuratively, foreign influence is being challenged, and local industries, they're starving for innovation, leadership, and fresh capital. And you, diaspora listener, future investor, you have the edge. You've got the Western education, you got digital tools, you got access. But they, your cousins in Tuba, your brothers in Chess, they've got the land, the hustle, the vision. So why not bridge it? Because here's the truth: if we don't invest, someone else will. And there already are. The French, the Chinese, the Turks, the Gulf states, they've done the research. They've signed the deals. They're building malls, highways, pipelines, and now they're eating. But what happens when we do the same? When we stop flying in for vibes and start flying in with vision? When we bring the blueprint, the capital, the long game back home? That's why Senegal. Because this isn't just about throwing money at a project, it's about knowing the terrain, understanding why things have been the way they have been, and recognizing that the window in front of us right now doesn't stay open forever. This is a country on the brink of something new, not perfect, but shifting. There's leadership that reflects the people. There's pressure from the youth. There's global attention. And then there's you, someone who can move smart, move early, and move with purpose. Senegal does not need saviors. It needs partners, people who understand the past but are willing to shape the future. So, if you're still listening, the real question is, do you want to be a visitor or do you want to be a builder? Because if you choose to build, keep listening. So politically, there's momentum. Jomai is in office, Sonko in his corner, and the youth are energized, and the world is watching. This isn't business as usual. This is a country questioning everything: currency, contracts, corruption, and control. And here's what people don't realize: the diaspora isn't just watching. We've been voting. The Senegalese diaspora, over 700,000 strong, isn't just a cultural flex. We're a political force. In the 2019 elections, the diaspora made up 4.6% of registered voters, basically the size of a whole region in Senegal. And that's not symbolic. We showed up with ballots and bank transfers. Ousmane Sonko's party, by the way, raised over 47 million CFA from the diaspora alone. That's nearly 73,000 euros just from people outside of the country. That kind of impact isn't just financial. It shapes political strategy. It influences policy. It tells the world we're not just flying home for the holidays. We're here to shape the future. And guess what? The government sees it. Just last month, President Diomaye Faye stood at the Council of Ministers and named the diaspora as one of his top 3 national priorities, right alongside national dialogue and economic reform. He announced the creation of a National Diaspora Day this December to celebrate our contributions. He's calling for faster passport processing, better pension support, more backing for diaspora-led projects through platforms like Tabak Senegal. This isn't just symbolic. It's strategy. Senegal knows its diaspora is part of the engine, and now it's building with us in mind. If we've got the power to fund elections from abroad, we've got the power to build businesses, schools, and futures back home. What are we waiting for? And there's more. In October of 2025, Senegal is hosting the International Forum Invest in Senegal, a global summit designed to attract win-win partnerships. And attending that strategy, Prime Minister Sonko. That's not just a photo op, that's a statement. Senegal isn't just open for business, it's redesigning the game. And speaking of being open, United Airlines just launched its first ever direct flight from Washington, D.C. to Dakar 3 times a week. This is now the only airline in the world directly connecting the U.S. capital to Senegal's capital. Translation: no more excuses. Dakar is closer than you think. So next time you hear someone say, I want to visit someday, remind them Senegal isn't just waiting. The plane's already boarding. And the best part, the government isn't gatekeeping the conversation. They're inviting diaspora youth into the vision. This is the time to show up, not just to visit your family in December, but to meet with city officials, attending investment expos, walk the land you say you love. Because Senegal is open, and the only question is who's gonna show up. And here's the wild part: everything I just said, you probably won't hear it on CNN. It's not trending on TikTok. It's not in your group chat. But when the land is gone, when the contracts are signed, when the deals are done, then everyone will start paying attention. And by then, you'll just be watching it all happen like a documentary. Don't wait for the headlines. This is the headline. Pay attention now. So let's talk specifics. Here are 5 investment opportunities in Senegal that aren't just nice ideas. There are sectors that are already heating up, and if you move early, move smart, and move with purpose, they could absolutely change your life in the next 5 to 10 years. Because the truth is, people are sleeping on Senegal, but the numbers aren't. So number one is real estate in emerging cities. So everyone's eyes are on Dakar, but real estate is not just about where it's hot, it's about where it's heating up. Let me put you on to cities like Diamniadio, Saly, Thiès, and Kermasar, places the average person still thinks are too far or not developed. Perfect. Let them sleep. Meanwhile, the government is literally building a new capital style hub in Diamniadio. They moved ministries, built conference centers, and even hosted global events there. It's like Senegal's version of DC, still under construction. And let's talk numbers. You could buy a piece of land for the same price as a couple of months' rent in Brooklyn. Build housing, Airbnb it during events, rent it to returning diaspora, or just sit on it while the value multiplies. People spend their whole lives trying to get in early on tech stocks, but you have the chance to get in early on actual land on the continent. Real assets, real returns, real roots. Number two is agribusiness, but make it tech. Let's be real. If your grandma owns a land in the village and it's just sitting there, we need to talk. Senegal's agri sector is shifting, not just raw exports, value added everything. We're talking local processing of cashews, peanut oil, fresh fruit juice brands, even modern farming techniques use drones and smart irrigation. And the demand, it's already here. Senegal imports too much of what it can grow. The food security conversation is getting louder and the government is pushing hard for local transformation. You don't gotta be in overalls milking cows. You could co-invest with a local farmer, launch a farm to table brand, build a supply chain to Europe for organic Senegalese goods, start a TikTok famous brand selling Bissap drinks with clean branding. Gen Z loves a health wave. Imagine being the one who brought the next African superfood to Whole Foods. Number three is private clinics and mental health services. This one's personal. Ask any Senegalese person what happens when someone's sick. They'll tell you wait hours in the ER, pray the doctor shows up, and hope your aunt knows someone on the inside. The public health system is overwhelmed. And mental health, we're not even having that conversation at scale yet. But here's what's true. There's a growing demand for affordable, accessible, and private options, especially outside of Dakar. You could open a small clinic in a regional city, launch a mobile medical unit, partner with Senegalese doctors to offer specialized services, start a telehealth app that connects diaspora trained therapists with Senegalese youth. And yes, people will pay for this, especially if it's respectful, accessible, and doesn't feel like a luxury, but a right. Investing in healthcare is the opposite of exploitation. You're solving real problems and you're getting paid to do good. Number four is education that actually prepares people. We don't need more schools that teach memorization. We need schools that teach application, how to survive and thrive in the world we're living in now. And right now, a degree doesn't equal a job in Senegal. That's a gap, a painful one, but you could fill it. Start small. Open a coding boot camp for high school grads. Launch a weekend program on financial literacy or entrepreneurship. Teach kids how to build resumes, portfolios, pitch decks, or podcasts. Offer online French tutoring for English speaking diaspora or vice versa. Senegal is filled with youth who are ready to learn, but the content, format, and mentorship aren't there yet. You don't need to build a university. You just need to build something useful. But once the first cohort succeeds, the demand takes care of itself. Number five is creative infrastructure for the culture. Let's not lie, Senegal's creative scene is elite. The vibes, immaculate. The talent, out of this world. You've got Wally Seck selling out venues, Amadou's redefining modern Senegalese music with soul and melody, photographers capturing Eid outfits like it's Vogue, designers going viral. But what's missing? Infrastructure. There's no real music industry, no ecosystem for creators, no full-scale podcast networks, no video production pipelines built for our stories. This is where you come in. Build a creative studio in Thiès or Dakar, start a label, launch a fashion incubator, create a platform for creators to collaborate and monetize, not just post and hope. Our culture doesn't need to be discovered. It needs to be supported. And if you build a system that supports it, you win with it. And listen, none of this is overnight. It takes vision, research, consistency, humility. But if you're sitting around saying, I don't know where to start with what you're already good at. Start with the city you already love. Start with a cousin, a co-founder, a classmate. Don't just start with excuses. Because if you move with intention and just a little bit of delusion, Senegal could be the best investment you'll ever make. Now, let's be real. Every time Senegal enters the group chat, the same tired excuses pop up like ads you forget to skip. Let's break them down. Number one, you need to be rich to invest. No, you don't. You just need to be creative, consistent, and connected. People think investment means a multi-million dollar factory. It doesn't. It could mean buying a small plot of land with your cousins, starting an online product band with local materials, partnering with someone on the ground to co-launch a service. Some of y'all are paying $2,000 a month in rent for a 600 square feet apartment and a washing machine in the kitchen, but think buying land in Chis is too risky. Let's shift that mindset. You don't have to be rich. You just have to reprioritize what kind of future you want to afford. The second one is, I don't live there, so I can't do anything. Babe, you live on the internet. You can do a lot. WhatsApp, Wave, Zoom, Instagram, Google Docs, these are free infrastructure tools. You can hire a local team, set up automated systems, work with family or friends you trust, make monthly visits if you're serious. The diaspora is building businesses in Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, all while living in Toronto or Philly. Senegal, it has that same potential. And if you know how to run a side hustle from your phone, you can run a small business back home. Number 3 is, it's too corrupt. I don't trust the system. Cool, but you trust the US banking system that charge you $35 for a late fee on a $3 coffee. Yes, Senegal has bureaucracy. Yes, there are roadblocks, but here's the thing, they're not excuses. They're realities you prepare for. Learn the process, get help, ask questions, and build slowly and smart. Plus, if you don't trust the system, why not be a part of the generation that helps change it? The next one is, people will scam me. That one cousin probably will, but someone else probably won't. And that's the point. You need structure, contracts, documentation, oversight. Don't just wire money and hope. Build a business the way you'd build it anywhere else, with clarity, communication, and checks in place. And also stop romanticizing trust and start normalizing accountability. It's not about family or no family. It's about systems, and you can build them. Now, the last one is, Senegal isn't developed enough. Developed for who? You mean it doesn't have skyscrapers or American fast food on every corner? Let's unpack this. Senegal has stable governance, a growing middle class, expanding internet access, one of the fastest, youngest moving populations in Africa, a president and a prime minister openly pushing for economic independence. What it doesn't have is mass gentrification, student loan debt, and overpriced oat milk. Senegal isn't underdeveloped. It's in development. And if you only show up when it looks like Dubai, you miss the whole point. So before you talk yourself out of building, ask yourself this. Are these concerns or just comfort zone excuses? Because real builders don't wait for perfect conditions. They build in real time with real risk for real change. And if that sounds like something you're ready for, Senegal is ready too. Let's step back. This isn't just about real estate or opening a clinic or starting a business. This is about legacy. Because whether you realize it or not, you're already a part of the story. A story of migration, of sacrifice, of survival. Your parents or their parents left everything they knew just so you could have a shot at something better. But what happens when you finally have that shot? You went to school, you got the degree, you got the passport, you made it. But now what? Do you build where you live or do you build where you're from? Do you use your privilege to chase comfort or to create change? Because let's be honest, we wear the vex, we post the throwback photos, we blast the music, we eat the food, we fly homes for weddings. But will we build or will we keep being visitors in the place that made us? You are the first generation with access, education, and a direct line back home. Use that. Don't waste it. You are the first generation with this much access, this much education, this much global awareness, and still a direct line back home. That's rare. That's historic. That's powerful. You don't need to be a millionaire to make impact. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to decide, will you let your roots fade into nostalgia or will you plant something that lives beyond you? You think you're investing in Senegal? Senegal's been investing in you. Every elder that welcomed you back, every cousin that showed you around, every vendor that smiled, even when you spoke broken Wolof, every artist, activist, and builder who stayed, they've been holding the door open for you this whole time. So this isn't about saving Senegal. It's about reclaiming your place in it. If we don't show up now, we'll spend the next decade asking for pieces of what we could have built. Because what happens if we don't? If we wait too long? If we keep saying someday while other nations sign the deals, build the roads, and buy the land? The question isn't, is Senegal ready? The question is, are you? Are you ready to stop being a visitor? Are you ready to stop romanticizing Africa from afar? Are you ready to stop reposting and start rebuilding? Because when the history books are written and the kids ask, what did you do with all that privilege? Let your answer be something worth saying out loud. You're not too small. You're the return. Senegal's been waiting for you. You're not disconnected. You're not too late. You're not too small. You're the bridge, the builder, the return. And Senegal's been waiting for you. So you're fired up. You're inspired. You're in your I'm about to change the world mood. But now what? Here's the truth. You don't need a business plan to start building. You just need to start moving. For one, pick a sector, any sector, real estate, tech, healthcare, education, creative work, agriculture. Pick the one that actually excites you, not the one you think sounds impressive. Because if you're not obsessed with it, unhealthily obsessed with it, you won't last. You don't need to have all the answers, just enough clarity to start asking better questions. The second thing you could do is research like you're building a case study on yourself. Start with Google, YouTube, or ask people on the ground. Look up land prices in emerging cities, ministries offering grants or diaspora programs, upcoming investment forums like Invest in Africa this October. And if you're Senegalese, you've got insider access. If you're diaspora, you've got outsider perspective. Put them together, that's your edge. The third thing you can do is use what you already have. What's your skill set, your degree, your network, your side hustle experience? You can offer digital marketing to a Senegalese brand, partner with a cousin who owns land, teach online or in-person workshop, launch a small product brand with local materials. You don't need VC funding. You need alignment between what you're good at and what Senegal needs. You could also just talk to someone. Not everything happens on your laptop. Talk to your parents, your cousins back home, a local entrepreneur in Senegal, someone who's already building. Ask them what they wish someone would invest in. Ask what problems need solving. Ask how they'd start if they were you. That's how you build a relationship before revenue. Also, go physically if you can. Go to Senegal, not just for Deti December or a wedding, but to walk the neighborhoods. Just visit the land, talk to local business owners, touch the soil, feel the rhythm, see the gap with your own eyes so you can build what's actually needed, not what just sounds good on Instagram. And if you can't go yet, zoom in. Literally, talk to people online, watch footage, pay attention. Don't just stay distant forever. And finally, start small. But start. Buy one plot, sponsor one student, start one project, launch a pilot, open a Google Doc, build a team of 2. You don't have to change the entire country to make an impact. You just have to do your part and do it with intention, because once you start, momentum handles the rest. Nobody's asking you to save Senegal, by the way, but if you've listened this far, you probably feel it too, that pull. That whisper in your gut that says it's time to return with purpose. This is bigger than the algorithm. It's bigger than aesthetics. It's about legacy. So start building. Start today. If you made it to the end of this episode, then you already know this was never just about Senegal. It's about all of us as Africans, as diaspora, as a generation raised between cultures, carrying both the trauma and the tools to rebuild what was broken. This isn't about charity. It's not about ego. And it's definitely not about waiting for someone else to go first. It's about showing up fully as a believer, as a builder, as someone who stopped waiting for permission and started creating a future that feels like home. Senegal is not just your homeland. It's your blueprint, your opportunity, your mirror. And whether you chose to invest, collaborate, visit, teach, build, or plant your flag, just know you're not too late. You're right on time. This is your generation's movement, and it's ours to shape it. If this moved you, share it. Send it to someone who's always talking about going back. Tag that cousin who's sitting on land. Save it for the day you finally decide to take that flight. Because we don't just talk about Africa here. We build it, we honor it, we reclaim it. One episode at a time. This was They Lied About Africa. I'm your host, Nube. Until next week.